Hello. Comes the cat. Um, I'm kicking things. I had this idea for a video like pretty much immediately after I did the last video, and I'm like, I waited to do it because I am trying to keep my sort of schedule so that I don't get overwhelmed, and um, also I'm glad because I think that thinking about it, I had an idea that was just like a snap judgment that I sort of felt was wrong, and thinking about it, yeah, I think that the snap judgment is a little too simplistic. So I'm going to talk about that too, but I'm going to explain why I think it's not quite accurate. And the other thing that I I shouldn't say, but I'm going to say, which I am so self-conscious about my neck from this angle. And yet, yeah, one, I'm old, and two, I did lose weight and I got that hanging thing going on. And yet I film here because that's brilliant, but I won't be much longer because this is where I put my tree in the winter. Anyway, now that I got all that done, I'm trying to warm myself up to the idea of talking. Somebody was like, "Are you an ambivert or something? If you are able to start talking when you just turn on a camera and point it toward yourself?" I'm not. If you've seen the videos I do, they're probably driving you crazy. The advents. Um, well, I do a short literally every single day, regardless, year round now, because if I don't, then I stop making videos for months and months and months. So if I'm just like in the habit of it, then it's not such a big deal. Um, and then I'm doing the Advent thing that drives people crazy. I think I get like nobody watches it anyway. But the point of that is, what I'm trying to say is that I make the other little videos um, basically so that I'm kind of warmed up, even though I don't really talk in them. Actually, it's really funny. When I started doing the Advents, I forgot that I could talk during the daily because I don't during the short because I speed it up and it would just sound so weird. Anyway, how about I get to the point? The point of this video is I think I've discovered another one of those, and I'm sure there's a zillion of them, where it seems like there's a really obvious split that some people act a certain way and some people act another way when you have avoidant personality disorder. And the really obvious one to me before were the people with how you were comfortable, whether you're comfortable around strangers or if you're comfortable around people that you know. And I am definitely a stranger person. And it's pretty awful to me to have anybody that's not a stranger in my life, and people who consider themselves friends of me. I don't consider them friends because, like, then I can't have anything to do with them because then automatically they're not trustworthy. Um, and then other people I know are the complete opposite. They would never trust somebody that is a stranger, and that's why their circle is so small because they can't interact with other people. Because it's unsafe. So that one I think is pretty well established. Like for instance, if you go on vacation, do you travel or do you stay home? I travel, clearly. Um, Actually, it's been a while since I really put up anything anywhere with my travels. Just kind of, I don't know. And on the one hand, I think it's too bad because other people can sort of like live through my vicariously through my traveling. I am still doing the new country every year. This year it was Australia. It was amazing. It was still like not the perfect trip because there was a cyclone in the way, and so it was delayed by 5 days, much shorter than. But who knew that you could do Australia in a week? I mean, I didn't really do Australia. I went to 3 different cities and hung out in the cities, and as far as I'm concerned, was cool. Didn't interact basically with well, I interacted way more than I probably wanted to. But the people I interacted with were people from other countries that were, visiting Australia mostly. And I didn't really go out. I did see platypus. That was awesome, but I didn't go out in the countryside, which is actually what I think of when I think of Australia. I mean, it's of course all the not all, but most people live in the cities, but still, in other words, even though I really thought I would be one and done, usually I am one and done. I really think I need to go back at some point. It's expensive. I'll have to save up for it, to say the least. Get my life in gear first. But anyway, yes, I did do that, and I didn't. I just did another trip in in September. Yep, and another one in August. So I'm still traveling a lot so that I can decompress because it is very stressful being at home. I mean, and it's like okay, once I get in home, I'm okay, but being I don't know, it's I just I feel like my life is a, you know, is a house of cards and it's going to tumble down at any point. And I don't know when it's coming, but it feels like it. And I don't know if that's accurate. It's probably not. But, you know, I mean, it's also political. Sorry, but it is the way that the United States is right now. You never know what the heck is going to happen the next, month. So I think that stress is getting to me. So how about I actually talk about the topic now that I've been yapping for, oh, it's not even telling me. Is it telling me? Almost 7 minutes before I get to my topic. Wow. So I initially thought, all these things, they sort of like flow together. I thought this was a gendered thing. Just because my pool of people that I'm making this observation about is small and it does seem to be falling upon gendered lines, but I just didn't that didn't sit with me. So I actually think that's a simplistic thing. Um, I don't think it's a gendered thing. I think it's a person thing, and that people are usually dichotomous. They're one or the other. And you know, and it's sort of like the opposite of a bell curve. It's people on the outer edges, and I doubt very much that it's a situational thing. I think that you're primed, and based on your how you grew up and how you experienced what you experienced to become avoidant. I think that sets you for life. And I haven't even talked about it yet still. But what it'll be in the title. So you guys will have a clue. It is hard for me to talk about this. So I'm avoiding it. Um, but what I want to talk about is like how you cope with, and I don't know how to really word this, but I mean basically something that triggers your abusive past. How do you cope with this? Um, in my case, it showed up in both cases in work situations. For me, I had my boss. I had a difficult client. Um, they were trying to be anonymous is the problem, and you can't be. If you have to pay for something, if you can't be completely anonymous. You got to have information. You got. I mean, I get it. You don't want people to harass you and try. Well, I get it. I do get it, but and people are really paranoid about giving out all their personal information, and they think it's going to be sold and all this other. Who knows? Actually, I don't know. Maybe the company is going to sell this crap. I don't know. But in order to do a service, there's certain stuff. If you're calling me and you're wanting me to help you, and it's a service that it's not just an anonymous like chat type thing, if I'm going to give you my service, there's certain information I need to get from you. This person was absolutely super cagey and refused to give the information and was like, we already gave it. And I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. I need this certain amount of information before I can help you. And that's all there is to it. Um, so, um, initially I attempted to help them. And because I didn't have all the information, it just didn't work. I couldn't provide the services that they required. Okay. And so I had to like basically cancel. I didn't like fully cancel, but it's more like I put their order in stasis and spun them, which of course they were pissed about, because if you have to wait in a queue to get your stuff, and then it's like, wait a minute, where is this? I need this stuff. Okay, I get that frustration too, but they refused to give me what I needed to do in order to go forward. And I'm sorry I'm being so vague about this, but I'm really trying to be vague. I really don't like to give out information about what I do, how I do it, where I do it, who I'm servicing. That sounded really bad. Anyway, but yeah, I'm really being vague about this. But anyway, so then what happened was they immediately requested to talk to in person. Okay, there's a problem. Talk in person to my supervisor. Holy God. And then it was the exact same thing. Refused to give information. My supervisor could not get any information out of them, and saw that I was available, and then sent them to me, and I was just said the same thing. I need this. I need this. I need this. And they finally told me the information that I needed to have in order to fulfill their request. Got a call coming in. Sorry about my fingers. That's my kid. I'll call him back in a minute. Anyway, and then afterward sent them both the initial request that did not have the information and the final information receipt that did. And I was like, by the way, here, see, look, we didn't have the information, and this is what we needed, and this is why we needed it, and now we've got it, and their services rendered, and everything is kosher. Well, this person called back to my manager and blasted me for being rude, or how dare I insist that I get this information? How dare I then show them that they completed the initial request without the information, which they had to know. They had to know that, I mean, we need certain information in order to do to get paid. And obviously, well, we can't do that unless we're getting paid, right? I mean, this is a job. I can't just give people stuff. I'm not working on my own. I'm working for a company. So yeah, I mean, I'm still boggled. Like, why was that so difficult? But anyway, I was put on an open line, so all of my coworkers heard me get absolutely blasted by my manager, and told me that if ever there was another complaint about me being rude, that I would no longer be working in that capacity, and that I needed to be professional. Seriously. And I'm like, and I'm hearing my other coworkers be like, oh, now, I mean, I'm sure the entire point of it from my boss was to basically warn everybody else so that it didn't need to be told you know, do this one dumb thing once and then never have to warn anybody else about it again. I mean, apparently I should have just not even tried and just rejected the client straight off the bat, I guess. I don't know. Um, I put too much effort into trying to render my services. I don't know. But I mean, it was humiliating, and it was having my job threatened, and I mean, it was abuse. It was abuse by my manager, and I literally just said about 4 times, "Okay, okay, okay," and I heard from I generally don't try to sit and chat with my coworker, but I've heard that one, across the board, everybody that heard it was just like, "Oh my god, the boss was out of line." One, and two, I also heard that approximately a half an hour before this happened, my boss had gotten so stressed out by another situation and client that she literally broke down sobbing, and I'm like, "Holy smoke!" So this was prepped. It had nothing to do with me. Hence, again, I was just like, "Okay." By the way, no repercussions for me since then at all. But I'm just like, "What the hell?" Okay, but my reaction was to basically fawn. It's fight, flight, and fawn. And that was my reaction. I was just like, I just took it. I absorbed it. I will never, ever trust this person in any capacity again about anything. Nothing that she can say to me, am I going to believe anything that she has to say. I'm never going to believe she actually has my back. Never. Never again. Um, and there we go. And I haven't said a word about it to her. I can tell you that I have other friendships that are real friendships where they have I was talking about it with a video last week that I don't say anything, and then it seems like it comes out of thin air that I've just decided to disappear on somebody, and it's not true. There's something that's really been a major, giant, huge problem that has not been addressed. This is that situation. I'm just like, okay, so this job, um, I mean, it sort of felt like kind of safe, this stupid job. I'm mostly by myself. I don't have that much supervision. I'm just directed, okay, here's the job, do it. Here's the job, do it. That's what I get. That's the direction. I don't really have to interact. But yeah, the friendliness thing will be far less than it was before, and will be more guarded, and I'm just not going to believe it anytime, because I was actually given a compliment by the same manager after this, and I'm just like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I believe the outburst. I believe that you know I'm like one step away from getting fired. That's what I believe from now on. But my reaction to it was, don't say a word. Just cower. Just take it. Just okay. 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 Take the abuse. That's my reaction. Another person I know who's a guy. So again, this is different. Um, had the fight reaction. Had extreme. Um, and it wasn't like this. It was. It was. He was told that somebody was sort of like making a joke at his expense. Um, and he was told about it by somebody. And his reaction was the complete opposite of mine. It wasn't even the person who'd done it. It's like, okay, well, you didn't say anything to defend me when you heard this, and just complete explosion at the person. That's like, kill the messenger for sure. That sort of reaction. Extreme blow up. And in that case, it's sort of the same, but even more extreme. It's like, okay, when I was talking about when people just, snap and they're done, well, this is a situation. This is this coworker who it took me forever to even get a grasp on what this person was telling me, because I was like, huh, what? This coworker was like more of a coworker, more than a coworker, more like a friend. And I was like, what? You do what? You become actual real friends? Friends with coworkers? What? I would never. Um, I would never. So that's impressive, that because again, the complete opposite. This is a person that being um, around, the non-strangers is the only thing that makes things safe. For me, I'm like, I've got to be around strangers to be safe. So I can't be friends with my coworkers. This person has to have friends um, that they work with, or else they can't work. And again, complete opposite was extreme, like explosive blow up thing, and that friendship is over based on something that it wasn't even. Again, I get it. It wasn't, but this person wasn't the one that was initiating it. This was a person that didn't stick up to for him, and I'm like, whoa, um, impressive, impressive that those are the reactions, and I'm guarantee you it goes back to whatever caused the avoidance in the first place, and is just super triggering. And it's a safety thing. It's like, okay, you are not safe anymore. That's it. When somebody is not safe for me, I don't ever interact with them. I'm just super quiet. I don't confront it at all. I don't acknowledge it. I don't say a word. I'm sure they're like, "Oh, yeah, she's so cool. She just, you know, I was able to unload, and she's not going to hold it against me." On the contrary, if I'm not saying anything to you, I am holding it against you for life. And this other person just has an immediate, like, gone out, will push you away. And I just think that's really interesting. And I actually, I don't know anybody who's avoidant who does the flight thing. I would assume that the flight thing is, I mean, I don't know, because avoidant people are basically sort of stuck in place. So they're not going to be flighty and just disappear on somebody. I think it's one or the other. And I don't think it's really gendered, but maybe it is. I mean, because again, I think it's really attached to how you were growing up. Okay, let me put it this way. I don't think it's necessarily gendered as for male, that men are all going to be explosive. I think that they can be explosive, and I think that they can do the fawn thing where they just like shut up and accept it when somebody's being abusive to them. And I doubt that they'll do a flight. I don't think anybody will do that has avoidant personality disorder would do the flight. I think it'd be about as rare as an extroverted person with avoidant personality disorder, which seems like it's an oxymoron. Um, but I think it would also be rare for a woman to become explosive with avoidant personality disorder because of the way people have been gendered. And again, but again, that might be an age thing, because it could be that younger women are more empowered and could be more explosive. Again, depending on the crazy upbringing they came up with. But from my generation, oh, no, 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 no. Women are still supposed to act a certain way. I've been over that too, that I don't act how you're supposed to act. But in that way, definitely gendered. Um, I don't know. I mean, I could be talking completely out my butt. Um, I again, very limited um, sort of pool to talk to. I don't go out and interview people with avoidant personality disorder. Um, I don't interact with very many people at all. um, so who knows? Maybe I'm totally dead wrong. Go ahead and tell me if you think I am. Um, I just think that's really interesting that it's so different to me that I'm just like I'm aware intellectually that it's possible, but I'm like, how is that even possible? For somebody to do, I'm just like, what? Huh? It's so different to me. The idea that you would explode at somebody, but it's also so different to me that somebody would be somebody that you would trust so much that you um, would feel that much toward them. That's just like, what? No, I don't do that. Um, Interesting. Let me know how wrong I am. And I'll see you next week.